Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Nomadic Wonders and Shalom Temple Journey. And we're here to introduce our amazing workshop speakers for the Sustain Me event, March 18th through the 22nd. And we are here to learn what they're bringing to the table, what their topics are going to be all about, and how you can engage with them at the workshop. They are all bringing some amazing tools for you to take home with you. So please ask your questions in the comments. Make sure it's on all capital letters so we can actually see them right away. I'm going to introduce Jacqueline. She is Barbara O'Neill's personal assistant, and she's going to be our host and I guess our MC person for tonight. She will start with introducing everyone, and then we're going to take it from there.
Hello. Hi. Thanks, Jax. This is awesome. I love how you got all of us together. What a great group. Welcome everyone who's watching. Thanks for joining us tonight. We have a huge lineup and wonderful facilitators. We're going to meet. Some I've already met and some I'm excited to meet today too. So Jax, before we move on to all of the workshop facilitators, let's talk about you a little bit. You are the founder behind Nomadic Wonders and Shalom Temple Journey. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so Nomadic Wonders is pretty much my health coaching business, and we also have natural market. We promote anything, from tincture salves, tea blends. I'm a huge fan of moringa myself, and I coach people. That's Nomadic Wonders. Shalom Temple Journey is the nonprofit, and the nonprofit allows me to bring these type of events to our community to spread the news about natural healing ways, like, natural. This is why we are doing this with Barbara O'Neill, because she fits right in alignment with my message to the world that we were born free to heal ourselves naturally. So that is what Shalom Temple Journey is.
Yes, I love that you said in your intro, you said you like to empower your clients to embrace a lifestyle of balance, intention, and vitality. That's awesome. That's really great. So let's get going. We have a wonderful lineup. We're going to start with Billy. Hello, Billy Bond. Glad you are here with us today. Tell us a little bit about is it PIMP cast or is it Pimpcast?
No, you got it right. It's PIMP. And
Nice.
don't be offended, folks. It stands for Permaculture is My Passion. So
That's
it was a way
amazing.
to reach out to people like me that look like me, that come from maybe a broken background like me. And these kids in the hood see that somebody like me is doing this kind of work when they've been told their whole lives, hey, you got to get into sports, you got to be an entertainer, you got to do all these other things. Well, people like me and a number of others that are here are breaking the paradigm. So that's what we do.
Yes. And it looks here you were former United States Army. You're engineer, is that right?
Yep, sapper.
How long were you in the Army?
I was in for 6 years. My wife was in considerably longer.
Okay. Well, thank you for your service.
Oh, thank you.
Now, tell us a little bit about your Perma Pastures farm.
Yeah, basically what we do here in a nutshell is show everybody how they can grow everything they need for free. So we raise all of our layers for free. We raise our meat birds for free. We raise our sheep for free. Basically everything we raise for free. Our trees, obviously, for free. And we try to teach everybody how to do that through our YouTube channel. At least when I don't have a 1 week suspension because I had Barbara O'Neill on, but that's another story altogether. So right now we're currently in the penalty box. Even though I've interviewed people like Nathan Reynolds, they didn't even kick me off for that. But anyway, yeah, who would ever guess that, having Barbara O'Neill and Jax on and Mike the Fit Farmer of all people, these three would get me kicked off. I'm sure it was a conspiracy, but yeah, that's basically what we do there at Permapastures Farmers. Basically, it's an educational platform, and we try to evangelize this magnificent design science called permaculture every and anywhere we can.
And what is the name of your YouTube channel?
It's called Permapastures Farm, and then the podcast is different. It's called the Permaculture Pimpcast.
Okay. That definitely sounds like something I want to subscribe to. I'm all about the troublemakers, truth tellers, getting banned. That's what I'm all about.
Well,
So
you're in good company.
It says here that you're a trained butcher. So do you raise all of your animals and
Sure.
do your own? Yeah.
Yeah, we raise them all, and that's part of how we're able to keep the costs so low. So
Okay.
Mike, the fit farmer, who's also on this panel, I mean, he and I have teamed up on different projects at a festival that we did before, and that's really the big part of it. I mean, what good is it is raising all of this fantastic meat if you're going to take it off to a processing house? The animal from miles away can smell the blood, they can smell the death, they can smell all those things. But the way people like Mike and I think Nathan, the way we raise our animals is that they only have one bad day and they never see it coming. So things are
Yeah.
done on the farm, and that's part of not only, giving this animal the best life it could possibly have, but also respecting it in the best way possible.
Yes. I think more and more people should be that way, and more aware of where their meat and their products are coming from. Thank you for everything you're doing.
Oh, well, thank you.
Well, let's move on to Carla Lee Johnston. Hi, Carla. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having us. This is
This is
awesome.
exciting. Yes, tell us some things about you. I love that the first thing I saw was that truth bearer. I love the word. I love that word choice. Truth bearer, way shower, visionary. Tell us a little bit about what your visions are for Peck the event. What are you going to be talking about at the event?
So at the event, we're going to be screening a film called The Truth, The Journey Within, which I'm super excited about. It's been a long journey for me to bring this out into the world, but it's a message that I received as a download, which at the time I didn't know any other way to describe it. But in 2006, I was given a download that basically rewrites the story about who we are. And that was kind of when I began to wake up and go down the rabbit holes. And so the message itself is basically, the film it's got 27 different wisdom warriors in it. Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton, a lot of busters, if you will, truth busters. And Byron Katie. And basically what it is it's giving us a path to scripting a new story, giving us the tools where science and spirituality bridge, and take us to a path of what it's going to look like to bring a new earth forward, and what those actions look like in real time. So how do we do those things that are necessary, breath work, and the different ways that we can begin to re-internalize the truth of who we are beyond what we've been taught we are. So it's a direct path for us to begin to move into the sovereignty that we were brought to this earth to be, so that our children can live the truth of who they came to be, and we can create our new earth. So we'll be talking about that journey and what took place, and we'll be speaking about some direct path tools that we can imply into our lives, and how we begin to wake up the different stages to get to that level where the implications of what we know inside of our being become the actions that begin to be walked into our gifts and what we each came here to serve, so that we can create the new earth that we're all here to be.
Mm-hmm. You said self to service in here. You shifted your focus from self to service.
Yeah, in the instant that I left body, I wasn't on psychedelics. I just had this experience where I literally merged with creation. And in that space of that moment that I did that, I recognized, oh, my money's not for me. It's not to have another XYZ. It's for me to be in service. And so at that moment, I literally dedicated my life to this message and to serving it. So.
And you're also an author, is that right? What is the name of your book?
So the book is Unveiling the Truth, The Journey Within. And I'm on the final leg of the next book, which is We, and both of them should be ready so we can give free copies to everybody. But
oh, wow.
It's literally the journey, the expanded journey that came through me, and the tools that it's going to take for us to literally move from completing our past to building our new earth.
Wonderful. And where can the audience find you? What are your platforms?
Well, right now they can find us on our website at www.thetruthjourney.com. And then my website will be live beforehand. It's in the final stages of being reworked right now, but at this point it's carlaleejohnston.com. And that at this point is probably the two platforms that we're going to use, because we'll be streaming through funnels and different ways of bringing forth the film itself. And then a couple courses that we'll be offering simultaneously with that.
Really like their reading information.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Carla. If everyone
Thank
could
you.
mute their microphones, that way we can hear a little better. So if you guys could do that, that'd be great. All right, let's move on. Let's talk to Whale and Simon. If Simon's here, I'm not sure, but I know Whale's here with harmonic breath work. We're going to have breath work at the event. And this is something I'm not familiar with, Whale, harmonic breath. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having us here. I don't think Simon is here, but I will speak for the both of us.
Wonderful.
So breathwork and live music is what we do, bringing in the breath as a gift, as a tool to guide us to become the pharmacy of your own body, to find a way to bring healing within. And there's only one way to find this experience, is simply by doing it. So at the workshop, really we'll be more concentrating on the experiential part of it versus any of the dialogue. We're just going to go into it and discover ways to bring out energies that can be used to heal the self.
How long have you been doing this? What got you started and interested in breath work?
Started about 10 years ago, and then we've been holding events for the last 3 years, live events and on Zoom. The reason why I got started, I was just looking for a way to accomplish deeper meditations, and ways to kind of really dip into that zone that we all so heartedly seek. And the breath work, I found it to be a tool that's undeniable. There is no, if you're a non-believer and you do it and you're right there, you go into that space, and it's just a tool that I want to share with the world, since it opened me up to healing and to this other worldly place of being. I truly believe that this is a tool that everybody should have in their gift bag, no matter what they do and what healing modality they use.
What can people expect when they're a part of your workshop?
The first day that we'll be there, which will be the first day of the workshop, we're going to do a full event where Simon is going to play his music live, which includes anything from classical guitar to the didgeridoo to the drum to a looper set, and of course the gong. And that would be the first day to kind of help everybody at the workshop really open up to the experiential way of being versus just the mindset of listening, and also anchoring all the stuff that's going to be given throughout the lectures, especially from that beginning day onwards. After the first opener, every evening we'll have a smaller meditation using breath to kind of, again, just anchor all the information that went through the whole day, and also to help people kind of sink in and do the self-healing that they're there to do, using using breath work. Again, the first night will be very deep, and that will allow people to kind of recognize that space. And other nights will just be on the lighter side, just to help them, again, anchor the experiences, help them into better sleep nights, and also to take home with them tools or gifts that will allow them to better their life on a daily basis.
All right. And where can people find you?
We are at Harmonic Breath, and the website is breathsoundmagic.com. Again, that's breathsoundmagic.com. You'll find a bunch of information there of what we do, a little video. And yeah, just very excited to be part of this beautiful, beautiful event.
Well, thank you, Whale.
Thank you.
Okay, now next up is Mike Dixon. I happen to know this Fit Farmer. Hello, Mike.
Hello.
I got to meet you last year, October, in North Carolina. And it was a pleasure meeting you and your wonderful family and your children and your beautiful wife. You did a little podcast with Barbara. I shouldn't say little, a big podcast with Barbara O'Neill. And you also are a permaculture farmer. Is that right? And it sounds like you've tag teamed with Billy Bond a little bit. But tell the audience about yourself.
Well, let's see. First of all, I just want to mention that it's an honor to be a part of a group like this. This is just amazing. Years ago, I never would have imagined being involved in something like this. I didn't grow up in homesteading and farming. I grew up as just a stereotypical suburban kid on the sad American diet, and then just starting to have negative health effects along the way. And then come to find out, you start changing your diet up, start taking better care of yourself and eating the foods that we were meant to eat. Then you start feeling better, and you're in better health and better fitness. And that's kind of how my journey started with getting into growing food and producing food. I was a former bodybuilder, all natural bodybuilder, fitness trainer, and all that interwoven in my journey led me to actually starting to produce food. Because as I was starting that journey, I was like, I need to eat natural food. Then it went from eating natural to eating organic. And then I was like, you know what? The best way to know what's in the food that I'm eating is to actually grow it myself. So started doing that. Then my wife started growing little people. And then I became even more interested in the food that we ate. And then we started growing food. We had a little urban plot where I started growing food, and I was hooked on it. And then we got to the point where we just wanted to do more. So we decided to sell everything we had, sell our house in the city, move out to the country, and start growing food and producing it for ourselves and have a more connected lifestyle. And that's what I do on my YouTube channel is I share our journey, and I also strive to empower others to do something similar.
Yeah. What is your YouTube channel called?
It's called The Fit Farmer. So basically a combination of
figure.
my previous past with fitness, health, and farming. It's all intertwined, interwoven.
Yes. You have some pretty exciting videos, very colorful, very
Thanks.
bold,
Thanks.
very exciting. So what can people expect at your workshops?
So one of the workshops I'm going to be doing is teaching people how to grow microgreens. No matter where you are, if you're in an apartment somewhere and you don't have a space, you can grow microgreens anywhere. You can grow them in your kitchen window. You can grow them on a shelf with just some little shop lights from Lowe's or Walmart or whatever. Everybody can grow them. And it's one of the fastest things that you can grow. You can grow it as little as a week. So something like radishes, which is a popular one, you can start the seed, get it started, sprouted in 2 to 3 days. And then within a week period, you can harvest that and you can use it as a garnish for your salad, tacos, omelets, whatever. Something that kids like to do. Anybody can do it.
Yeah, and they're so good for you. So much nutrients, so many antioxidants, so many health-giving properties.
Yes.
And easy is where it's at. I think it's really important when we're like, people are just learning to do better, just starting with the simple things.
Exactly right.
So-
Exactly right. And then the other thing I'm going to be doing is I have a talk that I'm going to be giving on why we were created, that we have a purpose. All of us have a purpose in life. We're not here as just some blobs that evolved out of the ocean, that each one of us have a purpose.
Yes, yes. So we can find you on YouTube, Fit Farmer. Are you on Facebook, or do you have an email or not email, but a website?
I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, but you can mostly keep track with us on YouTube.
Awesome. Well, it's wonderful chatting with you.
Thanks.
And I look forward to seeing you again here in March.
All right.
Okay. So we also have another Mike. There's 2 mics. We have Mike Dixon, who we just spoke to, the Fit Farmer, and we have Mike Winner. He is the event DJ and the MC. Is Mike with us today? I don't think Mike is here. Okay, that's all right. He's going to be the MC. I'm excited. He's a DJ, and he's got some pretty neat things going on. He's innovative. He's the founder of Q Ortal. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. So that should be exciting. Any place with a DJ is going to be fun. Any event. So let's get to the next person. We have Mariko. That's such a beautiful name. Hi, Mariko.
Hi, yes, thank you.
I had the opportunity to look into your YouTube. You had a little video that explained your history and who you were and your upbringing and kind of what led you to eating good food. I thought that was fascinating. What an amazing story. And then I'm really excited because I don't know too much about moringa. And you know a lot about moringa, sounds like. Moringa for Life. You're a certified coach and owner of Moringa for Life. Will you tell us about that?
Yes, well, I've been growing moringa for 27 years. This is the 27th year. I never thought, like Mike, I never imagined myself doing something like this. I had a completely different career, education. I never planted food. It wasn't really part of my awareness. And I lived internationally, and when I came back, I realized how much out of touch with this culture I was and what I should actually be doing with my life. So it seems like a past life, what I did before in corporate training and international marketing. It's just like a whole other world at that time. And I just started to do a kind of inquiry, and we called it at the time the stirring. I knew there was something I was supposed to do that wasn't what I was doing, what I was educated to do. And I just started to follow these little ideas. And little by little, it took me to become an organic inspector and work with farmers. And then had an idea one day, what's the most nutritious plant I could be growing? And that led the journey to finding moringa and then growing moringa, the most nutritious plant on earth. And that's all I have been doing ever since. And the transition that I think, a lot of people who have had a different life before that come into how to integrate the new life and how to describe it in a way that the people in your life can understand what you're doing, because they look like a crazy person, giving up, selling the house in the city and going to the country. Is like, there's so many ways that keep us from taking those true steps to get our true journey. And so that is a lot of what I help people with when they come onto this journey. I consider everyone who I ever interact with to be on a moringa journey, and it's just a matter of time until you find your step in. So it's just has been that way. And it's really an honor to work with a plant, to really be able to soften the intellectual mind enough to connect in and to then see the value and the power of nature, because it is in all of us, it's innate. And we have everything on top of that, our education, our cultures, different cultures telling us what to do at different times. And so it's an unraveling of that. And so I will be sharing that journey so that people can relate and see where you are in that for yourselves. And we come into this in so many ways, like permaculture is like, this comes from Japan, right? My roots, Masanobu Fukuoka, and having connected in with his work early on, which then led to permaculture. And I was like, so many things I already was in me to do that now is in this world. And that's how we can discover it, is we are here with purpose and with our ancestral purpose. We are the culmination of everyone who came before us, and we can bring all of that with us and maximize this for the benefit of what's happening now on the planet. It is a time that all of us really need to look to see how we can step into that, because the amount of healing that's needed right now is just unbelievable. It's just epic levels. And connecting with nature is a process that has you soften your heart and soften your mind, the thoughts that come in that get in the way, create your body as a vessel for that information. The fit farmer, it's so incredible because a lot of young people come to do this work and they have to be shown how. I'm teaching them how to use a shovel. They don't, even if I show them, now I have to say always, you have to be stronger than me and faster than me. But they can't even manage a shovel. So the fitness part of farming, while everybody has this kind of romantic idea about farming, permaculture, I'm right here in this, the Moringa Sanctuary, it's a permaculture demonstration. Yesterday, we just built a hugelkultur here. It's amazing the different generations that really need to be embraced and brought into this world, and fitness is the most important thing. Just the physical body has to be in shape, and the skills that, you know, people need are the most basic, that just like using a shovel, using a hammer. We have skipped that download, right, in this new generation. And the last two, I would say, you know, my children are in like 2 generations. So it's connecting to that. And it's also realizing that the way farming has been done in most places is with so much chemical. So that it's permaculture, but it's also the soil biology that we follow. I've done Dr. Elaine Ingham's work, and how to heal the soil is the premier work of everyone, right? So we follow that, growing the most nutritious plant in the most nutritious soil. You're always focusing on the health of that soil. That is what gives life to every living being on this planet. So really bringing that, and also in a practical way, like how to put moringa into your everyday life, how to grow moringa no matter where you are. Our students are all over the world doing amazing projects, and really for the benefit of their communities. So it's like looking to see how you can become, and you really already are a member of a community, and it's just making yourself known. So people who come to an event like this are drawn to it because they have a mission, and it's up to us as the facilitators to recognize them and really connect in. Any person who comes across our, you know, in front of us, just like follow that question, follow that instinct, you know, trust that that person is right there in front of you because they need something from you, and take that time, because that time is crucial right now, that we value every interaction that we have, and then taking that out into the world. Everyone who attends, know that you are now the ambassador of this work that you get introduced to. And every person, if just passing by in the grocery store, just to make contact, make eye contact, say hello, do something, and everyone can take that step. And all up until, you know, being another Jax who can facilitate something like this and bring all these people, all of us are training to do what she's doing today, to hold this container.
Video and mute her.
Yep, just right, everyone. Please put your microphones on mute because we're picking up some other voices. Well, thank you, Mariko. And I just learned that you are Jax's mentor, that you've taught her so much. And I think that's quite beautiful.
Well, she's an amazing student, you know, and this is the point, you know, so many people who have this mission in them to do, you know, you can put the coursework on hold because something else becomes the priority right now, right? And the Moringa journey continues whether or not you're actually doing something specific with it. It's unfolding in ways that you just don't know, and it'll all be made clear, right?
Yes,
Given time.
Well, thank you so much. I look forward to meeting you, and I'm sure for those who've signed up, they're very excited for your workshop.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so now we're going to be talking to Nathan Reynolds. He's an author, an international speaker, and also a permaculture farmer. Hi, Nathan.
How's it going tonight?
Good. How are you?
Absolutely marvelous.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, that's quite a question. Well, I'll tell you, I am absolutely delighted to be able to be here with you guys. These are some of my favorite people in the world. I totally creep on y'all's YouTube channels, and some of you are the literal reason that I live a very moderately peculiar lifestyle compared to others. That you guys have inspired me. I'll just tell you, somebody just mentioning the word hugoculture in other contexts means nothing to others, but I've got some swequity in that world. And I'll tell you what, man, there ain't nothing in the world that will deject you from farming like your lack of fitness. And so I just so appreciate the people that are giving people the authentic version of it, where it's miserable. It's absolutely disgusting and irreparably damaging to your physique compared to what you thought it would be. And I just love the authenticity of those that are bringing it tonight. So these are some of my favorite people in the world, and I'm just honored to be here tonight. So, but these literally are some of the folks that inspired me towards a journey of a peculiar lifestyle, and I love it. But some of the topics I'll be hitting on one side of it is the permaculture, is the health, is the wellness, is the I feel like crap every single day of the week and I just want to be better and be well. that was where we were for many years of my wife and I's journey until we started stumbling upon these others that had broken through the veil of just radical, intelligent evil and given us some kind of hope about what the future could bring, that maybe we didn't feel like garbage the rest of our lives, that maybe we could actually have some chutzpah and some zealousness and some passion and some insight, and we just wouldn't live in a perpetual fluoride haze the rest of our days. And it took a very intentional, prodigious devotion to getting out of that world. And so on one side, we love talking about the natural realities of growing your own food, of fresh milling your own flour, of wearing natural fibers, of drinking actual water. All of these kind of just components that make an integrated lifestyle feasible for the vast majority of those who are not necessarily living on the homestead doing the dream thing, but also those that are trapped in the realities of everyday lifestyle. But on the other side, I was raised in a very organized criminal family that was deep into occultism and Luciferianism, and so I was saturated in this world of radical intelligent evil, putting on masks, and it showed me a version of reality that was very I don't know, antagonistic to life, to vitality, to hope, and to future. And so on the other side of it too, I'm going to be talking about the progress of coming out of that and trying to cut a path through the deceptive machinations of monsters and trying to raise our families, our children into a path of purity and to hope. And that's so much of what we engender to bring forth to the population at large.
Wow. Wow, that's incredible. What a story. Jack said you had a story. And so I'm sure people coming to the event will hear more of that at your workshop. I'm curious, how long were you in the Army? It says you had an Army career. You're retired now?
Not even a close. I'm not retired. I was
Oh,
encouraged to go ahead and vehement my way out of there. I was only in there for a couple of years. I did a lot
okay.
of killing, targeted killing of United States citizens while I was in there. So not something to be glorified or encouraged or braggadocious upon, but sometimes the military likes to kill its citizens.
Well, so when you're referring to radical intelligent evil, and it's war against innocence and life, is that what you're referring to?
Well, that would be one, not as much in the military. I'll just say my family was involved in a lot of human trafficking and child exploitation, and they really found a way to profiteer off the exploitation of blackmail predominantly. And so
Wow.
I got to view the world through a lens of weaponizing blackmail and a compromise as a currency to control other individuals. But I saw these strange, peculiar individuals that weren't moved by compromise because they had integrity. They were contiguous in their ideological pursuits of life, and so they were unreproachable. They maintained their integrity. There was no fault found within them, and it drew me to this other lifestyle of men, and predominantly men of conviction, who were willing to say, I don't care what you're going to threaten me with or propose that I do. I'm going to maintain my values no matter the circumstances of my life. And it really drew me towards a culture of hope. And I found that those were truly some of the most precious and rare commodities that could ever be found in the world, was men and women of integrity. And so that's what I've endeavored my wife and I upon, is a journey of raising our children outside of the cult of my family, the people that were very powerful and in inviting us to compromise our children in order to get access to the trust fund and the wealth. But instead, we chose a path of relative poverty and obscurity, but for the sake of letting my children have the gift of freedom, which so few tend to value as sweetly as those who have been raised in a culture of being in bondage. But because of that, it's given us a way of trying to call others to a path of zealous pursuit of the truth, no matter the cost.
And you have 4 children.
That's right.
That's
Yes.
amazing. I also have 4 boys.
Wow. I'll pray for you
Kids are great.
continually.
I know a lot of us here have the kiddos, and they are wonderful. So tell us about your book. It says here you're an author, you're an international speaker. Where have you spoke before? What's the name of your book?
Yeah, the name of my book is Snatched from the Flames, One Man's Journey to Uncover the Secrets Buried in His Bloodstained Past. And that deals with a lot of my journey and my wife's journey of coming out of that cult and trying to break free and pursue a path of deliverance, restoration, and a pursuit of hope in so many ways, and trying to live outside of the matrix of madness. Yeah, we spoke all over the world, in Canada, all over the country. We traveled for 4.5 years full time in an RV, and we got to live with some of who were my mentors, the people that were living in biodynamic farming, regenerative agriculture, and got to be saturated in the midst of a lifestyle that I'd always wanted to know, but only saw it through the lens of YouTube. But instead, now I've got to participate in the active cultivation of family and a friend, a fellowship, and a food. And it's been quite a journey over the years.
Wow. That's incredible. Well, thank you so much for your time today. And I look forward to meeting you in March at the event. Be great.
Likewise.
Let's head over to, last but not least, saving the best for last, Tristan Leclerc. How are you, sir?
Hey, Jacqueline. Good to see you.
Now, I happen to know you because you are the CEO and founder of Simple Needs. I met you last year with Barbara. We went and we actually got a tour of your wonderful facility where we saw where all the bread is made, from the freezers to the ovens to the mixers to the storage to the grain. What an amazing facility you have. Tell us about your Simple Needs breads.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was very much, my stepfather is a naturopath, and I actually stumbled upon Barbara's work 20 years ago, and was watching her DVDs back in the day with my wife. And so I really valued the way that she kind of vulgarized health, brought it down to the simple and actionable, the way she does, to make it available to everybody. And so my wife and I, we taught cooking classes and worked for my stepfather in his naturopathic practice, helping people recover from food sensitivities. First by removing the things that were causing the agitation, and then helping their guts heal, and all that, working through his tutelage. And we just basically had the task of finding alternative foods from around the world that would not trigger their reactivity and allow their body to heal, and by not introducing the corn, wheat, soy, and all the foods that people have on a daily basis here in America. And so it was really an amazing journey. Then flash forward a little ways forward, we got to help a lot of people. But then when our firstborn son, Shiloh, was 2, he started showing signs of food sensitivities, which was kind of my gluten, celiac runs in my family, and or extreme food gluten sensitivity. I don't know that it's been diagnosed as celiac, but anyways, so we suspected that might be the culprit, and he had eczema all over his face as a 2-year-old. As we started introducing foods, he was very reactive to foods, and so we had thankfully had that experience, and kind of knew a little bit what to do. But the one thing I had never tackled was bread, and really kind of I was not much of a baker at that time. But I had studied chemistry, and so I, through a series of divine main circumstances, I got to meet Barbara's daughter Emma, and ended up staying with them at their house for an entire summer while my day job was, I was a construction superintendent and a foreman. So I was off of my job at the time, and she had asked if I would come and help her with her house. So I did. We spent the summer there. I re-roofed her whole house, re-sided, replaced all her windows, recladded the whole house. And while I was there, I was introduced to this concept of sourdough bread, and got to know Barbara a little bit there. And Sasha's sister went to Misty Mountain and worked as a volunteer there that summer, and came back all excited because she'd come across Evelyn Stewart, who's one of her employees there, and she stayed with her, and she's gluten-free, and she'd done this gluten-free sourdough thing. And so I had experience working with all these alternative grains, millet and buckwheat and teff and quinoa and sorghum. And she came back with this kind of rough idea. So that's where our story really began. Was I'd really kind of fallen in love with sourdough bread and the concept of a bread that's pre-digested and really prepared for the digestive system. And then also because some people, and maybe we've worn out the nutrient of gluten in our society, so there's been a lot of sensitivities with it. And so this idea of like transitioning all the benefits of sourdough now to a gluten-free bread that's not made out of whatever all the other gluten-free breads were made out of, which was like starch and gums and xanthan gum and preservatives and all kinds of nonsense, corn and soy and all the other allergens and eggs and all the things that can be triggers to people who have food sensitivity. They're in gluten-free breads. It's like, come on, people, you're just totally missing the boat here. And so I put to it, I said, listen, this kind of was a rough idea that Sasha's sister had come back with it. It fell in most of the time and it wasn't beautiful and this and that. But I said, I think there's something we can work with here. So I took it to like the chemistry side of my brain and built out this spreadsheet that became my matrix that I studied every property of the grain, all the different grains, and looked at them like their hydrophilicity, pre-bake and post-bake, and in the proof and their stretch and their sheen and their cost and all the other things, and just kind of went total mad scientist on it. And it took me about 3 or 4 months before I had a consistent product that I knew I could make. And Evelyn, Barbara's employee there, was like, "You're crazy. It's never going to come out the same every time." I'm like, if there's a way to do it once, there's a way to do it always. The science is, you just don't know all the variables. So I went down a long rabbit hole of trying to solve this problem initially just for my family. And what came of it was so incredible. I'm really proud of what we've developed and the knowledge that I've been able to acquire over the last 10 years doing this. But we have a completely plant-based, all whole grain, ancient grains, those 5 ancient grains that are just incredible nutrient dense foods that are then also sourdough fermented with Barbara's own starter. And it's funny, we just launched a collaborative ad with her, and everybody's going, "This is a scam. This is AI. It's not real." I'm like,
not real.
"Oh my goodness!" I'm like, "What?"
It's real.
It's real.
Yes, I can just testify to that. I order bread from you once a week when we're going to each location. She has a special code and everything, and you get her bread every week. It's sent to her. We get it toasted, avocado, olive oil, cayenne pepper on Tristan's bread. It must be Tristan's bread.
I basically keep Barbara fed while she's in America.
She does. If she doesn't have simple needs, oh my, that is her staple for breakfast for sure.
Yeah. So what I want to talk about at the event is going to be basically it's the history of the rise and fall of bread, pun intended.
Nice.
And so I want to look at bread from antiquity and how it was processed and what wheat looked like in old strains of wheat, and then what we've done to wheat in modern strains, and how the Industrial Revolution has really kind of molested bread and pulled off all the good parts and left only that which is high carbohydrates and low fiber and high gluten is this protein that's really difficult for our bodies to deal with and function. And then we've gotten rid of all the sourdough fermentation. And so now what you're ended up with is this food that's isolated, concentrated, fractionated, and then not processed properly for digestion. And it's just it's a recipe for disaster. And so it's cause of obesity, cause of diabetes, all these processed white flours and white breads and everything we eat in the States. And then it's also just ripe for autoimmune disease like Hashimoto's and several other things. And so we're battling this. And so what the answer is, people are developing gluten sensitivities. And so what they're doing is they're turning to, well, we're going to go from this isolated, concentrated, fractionated thing that's yeast risen, and we're going to go to another isolated, concentrated, fractionated thing made from cornstarch and potato starch and all these nutritionless starches, and build another product that's not solving any problems. And so Simple Needs basically comes in and says, no, we're going to go back to the roots of how bread is supposed to be made. Gluten, we're going to have to put that aside for now. And we're going to focus on ancient cultures' grains that didn't have gluten in them. Quinoa from, South America, and buckwheat from Russia, and millet and sorghum from India, and teff from Ethiopia. And all these cultures had fermented products, like injera from Ethiopia is made from teff. It's a fermented flatbread from Africa. And this in Ethiopian, the word teff means where is it? It's the smallest grain. You drop it, it's gone. And they have a saying in Ethiopia, in the Ethiopian language, it says, to translate in English, it sounds better in Ethiopian, I'm sure, but it says a man who eats teff is a strong man. So it's like, there's awesome properties. There's vegetable albumins in the grain, and so it's really something that albumins is like the protein of wheat. I'm sorry, of eggs, but it's a plant-based source of it. So you get really great protein complexes from these grains, and you get really great nutrient complexes and everything else in between. And then to boot, it's all sourdough fermented. So I really want to talk about that, the whole history of bread, and where we've been, where we are now, and what I believe the solution to our problems for bread really are, because people just are throwing out carbohydrates and throwing out bread altogether. And I really don't think that's what we should be doing, because it's an extreme diet, and we need to be looking for balance, and but at the same time allowing natural processes like sourdough fermentation to assist our bodies, like we have for millennia, to be able to digest grains and get really the powerful benefits that they have for us.
Yes, and there's such a beauty when you do like a word study on wheat in the Bible. It's a very godly thing. It's a very godly grain. It's just been ruined.
Yeah.
So it's just getting back to the way God intended it to be. So thank you for your bread. And thank you for offering that for people who have, who want real bread. I know Barbara sure does.
And I'm
She
looking
loves it.
forward to meeting Nathan Reynolds. So
Yeah.
you and I are going to talk.
Bro, I can't wait. I'm looking forward to your class. What day are you speaking?
I'm not sure. I'll talk with Jax.
We'll have to talk to Jax.
Looking forward
Well,
to
very
that.
good. Well, thanks, Tristan. So now what we're going to do is we have gone through everyone. That is all of your facilitators. We have met everyone. I'm meeting new people today too. And we're going to circle back. We're going to do some questions now for our facilitators. One came in that was pretty cute. I like this one. This is for Mike Dixon. Mike, do you have to be fit to be a farmer? That's a good question.
It is a good question. I would say you don't have to, but you're going to need to get to. You're going to need to get fit. It will make you, unless you're just riding around in a machine all day and having robots do everything for you. But no, it's a very hands-on activity. And one of the things that I say, the original workout is real work, and real work was things like our ancestors used to do, like farming, getting out there, learning how to shovel, learning how to do things with your hands, squatting down, bending over, moving. Yeah. You're going to need to, it's going to get you fit one way or the other.
All right. Okay, this one is for Carla. Carla, are you ready? What inspired your documentary?
One more time, I was unmuting. What was the question?
Sorry. Yes.
That's okay.
What inspired your documentary?
Just a moment when I left my body and the identity that I thought was what we were all supposed to be doing, the American dream, and chasing it all up. And I had a moment that I don't know how to say it. It was just a moment when I became one with God and was given information that I literally came back and said, oh, so my life was not meant for self, it's meant for service. And the information that came through me was so profound that I just decided to commit my life to its journey and its message in the world.
Okay. Next one is for Whale. How does breath work benefit our health?
Well, how does it not? It's a beautiful question. It just on a daily basis, as you know, we all know, it's breathing that keeps us alive. Health-wise, there's so many techniques to use breath work with that allows you to work on specific things, including anxieties and depression and so forth. And so finding a practice that will benefit you on a daily basis, that's the trick, is preventative maintenance, where it's a daily practice with whatever choice you make to find a meditative breathwork technique. So I would say it is the maintenance and the daily practice of it that really gives you that daily protection. Let's just call it that.
Yes. Without oxygen, nothing would live. We need it. I just want to take a deep breath in through my nose. Okay,
There we
this
go.
next one is for Tristan. Tristan, what makes simple needs different than Ezekiel bread?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So Ezekiel bread is sprouting their grains, and I don't want to bash on those
Yeah,
guys. I think they're
of
doing a
course.
really good. I think they're doing a really good work. The only thing that they don't, the boxes they don't check, is that their product is not sourdough, and it's not gluten free or soy free. So for those who are sensitive to gluten or soy, it's not going to be accessible for them. But I used to actually only eat Ezekiel bread before I found out that my son had a gluten sensitivity. But it was actually their bread that was causing him, because that's what we were buying in the house, was causing those problems. And that's no dig on them. It's just it's a gluten problem.
Okay.
The other key component, I think, Tristan, too, is that they utilize sifted. They take out the bran and the germ in another component of that. So it's still removed about 60% of the nutritive components of it that help it to be a little more bioavailable. So that's another factor that can cause problems for people trying to digest it.
Interesting. Yeah.
Okay. And if anyone is watching has any questions, please feel free to comment. If you're watching online, comment away. Make sure you have the facilitator's name in caps so we know exactly who the question is for. That's very helpful for us. While we're waiting for some more comments to come through, I just wanted to say, what are we talking about right now? What event is happening? And so this event we're talking about right now is tickets are still available and they're still for sale. This is a Sustain Me 5-day immersive event. It's March 18th through the 22nd, 2025. This year, we're already in 2025. Woo! It goes by fast. It's at the Tryon International Equestrian Center and Resort. Where is that? Are you asking? That's in the beautiful Blue Ridge foothills of Mill Spring, North Carolina. I bet that's a beautiful location. Jax, I've seen some really pretty pictures of the cabins and the location where the event's going to be. And so it looks really beautiful. So you have tickets still available, is that right?
Yes, we do.
Very
We still
good.
have, yep. And you just
And
go to our event page, and I think they put the link in the chat.
Yes. Yep. All the information's there. So you guys can find those tickets there. I will be there, and Barbara O'Neill will be there, and all the wonderful people that you've got to meet today will be there doing their workshops and doing their loving service and giving and serving and just helping the community with what works to heal the body and with what they know, which is fantastic. It's so nice to hear so many different ways of healing and encouraging healing through the body. Any more questions? We have a bread question for Tristan. Jax, can you read that? Because I'm not catching the comments.
Yes, it says, does the heat of baking bread affect its nutritive value?
So baking is actually essential to make grains digestible. It's part of what helps to break down the starches that are very difficult to digest. If you ate raw grains unprocessed, it would not do well for your gut. So heating is definitely essential. It does also obviously kill any of the microbes that are live in the culture of the sourdough starter, but what's beneficial to the sourdough, beyond just the fact that it helps to break down the grains, is that it really helps release and set the stage for prebiotics. And so all the fibers in this that are in the grains naturally are kind of made available and help your body feed the healthy bacteria in your gut. So I guess what I would say is obviously baking is essential, and that even though the sourdough bugs are killed, we like to call them bugs. It still is doing wonders for you, the sourdough process.
Okay, this one's for Mike Dixon. What company do you recommend to get your organic seeds from?
I've gotten a number of my seeds from Baker Creek, Seeds for Generations, Eden Brothers, is where I get primarily my main vegetable seeds. But I like to get my microgreen seeds from Todd Seeds and also True Leaf as well.
Okay, thank you. Tristan, someone asked, can someone who has diabetes eat your sourdough bread?
I have had experience with even type 1 diabetics who have a completely calcified pancreas and are on an insulin pump. And I can't say this, we have not done any scientific studies on it, and you'll need to make sure that you're monitoring your glucose appropriately. But in fact, um, but they have seen that it is very, very, very good for this specific diabetic that I go to church with. So it's like the only bread he eats. It's very, very good for him. It makes a very stable release of glucose in the blood, so you don't get the spikes that you would find in any processed or white flours. So I have found anecdotally that it is very acceptable for diabetics and actually healing to the body.
Okay.
And the
That's
pancreas.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pancreas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this one is for Billy. Billy, the question is, what are your concerns with toxic levels found in the water and soil in the areas after the hurricane?
Yeah, we had a number of, well, I'll try to be as condensed as I can on this. So basically,
run it all the way.
Jax will just give us the cutoff when we have to stop talking. She'll be like,
okay, the media and Mountain True, which is basically a local nonprofit, reported that everything was just fine just weeks after the event. Well, Grindstone Ministries went out, did testing. We spent almost $10,000 doing testing. And we brought in Dr. Will Spencer to come in and do scalar testing, basically finding out that this place, the entire region, is a toxic mess. And I mean, Dr. Will claimed that it rivaled Chernobyl. That's how bad. And the mainstream media isn't touching it. And the good thing about it is we say in permaculture all the time that the problem is the solution. So how are we fixing it? Right now, we have a couple of sites. A few are clandestine for a number of reasons, because we've had some really seedy interests seek in and try to bribe me and my wife to get us to stop what we're doing and basically follow their protocol. So as it was mentioned, a couple of Mariko, did I say that right? Okay, we're going to have a lot to talk about, because honestly, combining the work of Dr. Elaine Ingham, Jeff Lawton, Stefan Subkowiak, you name it. There's so many other people out there that we basically, if we're really good at anything in permaculture, at least at our farm, is that we cut and paste the very best of what everybody else has to offer. And by doing that, we're basically taking the bacteria, the fungi, the nematodes, the protozoa. We're making biocomplete compost that would knock your socks off. To give you an example, 135 grams per microgram is considered biocomplete. Ours is somewhere in the neighborhood of about 1,500. So we're taking that, combining it with the extremophiles that we got from Dr. Will, and what would ordinarily take us somewhere in the neighborhood of about 6 months, we think we can do in about 2. And basically hoping and praying that we can get this done, show the whole world that we've taken this toxic mess, did 180 degrees with it. And if we're able to do this, then all of these old boys up in the mountains that are being approached by lithium companies and all these other places, we can basically go out there as an army put down this biocomplete extract and do the things that we must do, keep these people on their land. So I'm not quite sure I answered the question, but I'm trying so hard to be condensed because I know we have other people here, but
Yeah.
it's the job.
Such a great thing to hear, Billy. I really look forward to so much conversation with you. Also for teaching you how to grow moringa for your animals as animal fodder and for healing the land and for as a fertilizer. I mean, there's just so much. It's amazing what you're doing. Just really commend you. That's
Oh,
no easy task at all. That is absolutely incredible.
Right. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Mariko, this question's for you. Why are you so passionate about moringa, apart from other herbs or plants?
Well, moringa is the most nutritious plant ever tested. That's the first and foremost. And it's used for so many things. Like I was saying, animal fodder, it can be used as a fertilizer, as a plant growth enhancer. So you can use it to grow anything else. And it's no harm to your farmers and your farm workers. So I have a mini module I'm working on called Drink Your Fertilizer. Because you can actually drink your fertilizer. It's good for the animals, it's good for the water. The seed clarifies water. It's used for carbon sequestration. There's big projects now for carbon credits for farmers in a lot of tropical areas to be growing moringa for that. So almost everything that we need to solve can be solved with moringa. Growing it and utilizing it as a food, as a medicine, and now coming up as we take food supplementation out that hasn't been tested, you can add food as your food supplement, add it to your food. So we'll be talking about that a lot. Add it to your bread. Make a high, protein, calcium bread, adding moringa to it. So you can add moringa to pretty much anything that you want to eat, and you're adding, even if I had a customer in the farmer's market, an unlikely customer, and he would come and get moringa from me all the time. And finally I asked him, how do you take moringa? And he says he puts it in his scotch and that's his breakfast. I mean, it just blew my mind. I was like, okay, so people can use it no matter how they're using it. For him, that was his breakfast. So it's inspiring in that many ways. But projects I have all over the world with students, or for mostly women and children. It improves milk production for humans and animals, so people in the milk industry. It increases the weight gain of animals. So anybody who's growing animal for weight gain, you don't have to give the antibiotics and some of the filler foods, the toxic foods. So you're giving animals a really healthy diet, and so that outcome of that food that's produced from those animals is increased. So humans who are eating that's their food, and that becomes, what is your food eating, right? That becomes a really big part of the conversation as well. So every aspect of the healing that has to be done on this planet can be accomplished with moringa.
Well, very good. I believe that was our last question for the evening. Is that right, Jax?
Yes, it is. There was a question for me here about, where was it? It was Amanda. Is Amanda still here? Something about offering 5 free patches to any of the speakers who would like them. I'm not sure what patches you're speaking of. So I'm not sure if she's in here still, but well, if anybody wants a patch, whatever she's talking about, you're welcome to give anybody a patch. As long as they accept it, and if it's, I'm not sure what patch you're talking about, but thank you so much, everyone, for joining us here on Zoom and live on Facebook. Thank you so much. I hope to see you guys there at the Sustain Me event with Barbara O'Neill, March 18th through the 22nd. Come say hi to our workshop facilitators. Come meet Jacqueline. I know I didn't really give her a proper introduction. I always skipped over it. But Jacqueline is our is going to be there assisting Barbara personally. She is her personal assistant. She'll probably be there, probably, answering some questions and making sure that Barbara stays on time and not gets bombarded with other questions. I mean, so she's there to protect Barbara in that aspect. Yeah, so thank you so much for joining us. And I'm just excited to see you all there. I'm just honored to be part of this group and honored for all the other speakers. So these are our workshop facilitators again. And then we have the other speakers with Barbara and Jonathan Otto, to name a few. So come join us and we'll see you there. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.